turning moment diagram and flywheel. So this is a topic we are going to discuss today. In power transmission in the vehicle. So initially we have the engine. After the engine we have the flywheel, then clutch, gearbox, transmission shaft, and wheels. It will go to wheels. So in the power transmission, the power is produced from the engine. Power is produced from the engine. So in the output from the engine will be rotary motion. That will be torque. That will be torque. So we have discussed about the torque in the previous class. We have seen one equation. That is torque is equal to Fp divided by cos phi sin theta plus phi into, this is the tangential force multiplied by radius of the crank. This will give the torque. The same equation also can be written as Fb into R within bracket sin theta plus sin 2 theta by 2m. You can write the equation like this also. We have one more equation, torque equation. All are same. This equation, all are same. But the difference between this equation and this equation is here we have 2m. Here it is different. So here in this equation, generally what is the value of n? N will be approximately 4. So 4 square means it is 16 minus sin square theta. If it is sin value is maximum is 1. Sometimes it is 0.75, 0.5, it is a little bit different. So even if you take 1, 16 minus 1, it is 15. So compared to this one, this is very small. So if you neglect this, and if you take the n square outside, you will get 2n. So this is simplified form of this equation, right? You can use this equation or this equation to find the turning moment produced in the engine, right? So turning moment will be acting like this. In the crank, it will be acting like this. So now if you see the equation, turning moment equation, it is a function of theta. As theta changes, the turning moment also will change. So now you can draw a graph. Between turning moment and theta. Position of the crank, theta. It will give you a graph. This is known as turning moment diagram. Turning moment diagram is the graph drawn between the torque produced and the angular position of the crank. So now you can see this is the turning moment diagram for 4-stroke engine. In the 4-stroke engine there will be 4 strokes. The first stroke is suction stroke. Next is compression stroke. Then power stroke or working stroke. Finally, we have the exhaust stroke. Each will happen in 180 degree. So 1 to pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. So there are 2 rotations, 4 strokes. In the first stroke, almost the power produced is 0. Here it is negative. So only the power stroke, the power is produced. See, the torque is varying from 0 to the maximum value. Then it is coming to 0 in the power stroke or working stroke. Then exhaust stroke also almost power produced is nil. So in 4-stroke engine, power is produced only during the power stroke. So this is the diagram. You can see for turning moment diagram for the steam engine, double acting steam engine, right? So this is the introduction about the turning moment diagram, right? Now we will discuss about the turning moment diagram of a single cylinder double acting steam engine. You know how IC engine works, you might have studied detailing, but steam engine also you may be knowing, but just I like to recall. So this is a cylinder. cylinder. We have a piston here, and this is piston rod. This is piston rod. Was 180 degree. When the fluid steam goes into this in direction, then the piston will be moved towards left. The crank will be rotating from 180 degree to 360 degree. 180 degree to 360 degree. The same will repeat. This is one cycle. This is one cycle. In case of steam engine, it has only 2 strokes, right? Stroke 1 is, that is forward stroke. So this is double acting. This is double acting. If single acting means fluid will enter from one side only, and it will, here it will not enter. So that is single stroke. Double stroke means it will be acting. So while the stream is entering from the left wall port, the piston will be moving towards right, and some torque will be produced here. Some torque will be produced here. So 0 to 180 degree. So that is given in this graph. That is given in this graph. The torque produced is varying from 0 to maximum, then maximum to 0. This is 180 degree. That is 180 degree. That is from left to right, this portion. And crank will be moving from here to here. So during the reverse direction, that is, since it is a double acting, now the stream is entering here. Stream is entering here. This will move towards left. Towards left. The crank will be moving 180 to 360 degree. Right? So this is a torque produced during the second stroke. So there are 2 strokes. This cycle, one cycle consists of 2 strokes. The same thing will be repeating again and again. The same thing will be repeating again and again. So in this diagram, how to find the work done? How to find the work done? If you want to find the work done, the curve under this curve is work done. That is, here we have T, here we have theta. So T into theta. T into theta will give the work done. T into theta will give the work done. If you want to find work done during one cycle, so that is work done per cycle. Per cycle. For one cycle, what is the amount of power produced? If you want to calculate, you find the area under this curve. Area under this curve. So this will be the work done. Right? So this is a mean torque. Actually, the torque is varying continuously. If you want to find mean torque, what you have to do? Work done is equal to T into theta. So you find the area under the curve and theta. Theta we know. What is the theta? The total theta is equal to 360 degree. That is equal to 2 pi. That is equal to 2 pi. If you put, you can find the T mean. You can find the T mean. Once you work done is calculated, if you know the work done and theta, you can find the T mean. That is average torque. Average torque. This is average torque. Now, I am going to explain how the vehicle is working. Right? So now, actually, the vehicle requires this much amount of torque constantly. The vehicle is required, that is, otherwise you can say it is a resisting torque. The vehicle is required this much amount of torque continuously. This much amount of torque continuously. But the torque produced is varying. Torque produced is varying. This is a torque produced curve. Torque produced curve. It is varying. It is continuously varying. So now, what will happen? Suppose the resistance, the required torque is this, but in this portion, the torque separate is less than the required value, required amount. So what will happen? It will decelerate. It will be decelerating the vehicle. And in this portion, the torque produced is more, but required is less. Required is less. So at that position, it will be accelerating. It will be accelerating, and it will be accelerating during this period. So at this portion, accelerating means the speed of the engine will, speed of the vehicle will increase. Speed of the vehicle will increase. So at this portion, at this point, speed will be less, energy will be less. At this point, speed will be more, energy will be more, right? If actually, if at this portion, in this portion, the torque required is more, torque produced is less. In that condition, what will happen is, it will take the energy from the flywheel. It will take the energy from the flywheel. So the energy of the flywheel will be slowly decreasing. At this point, it will be minimum. Energy of the flywheel is minimum at this point, because in this portion, the energy stored in the previous cycle is taken to maintain the constant speed. Right here at this point, speed also minimum, energy in the flywheel also minimum. So now energy produced is more, torque is more. So as torque increases, that torque will be, that energy will be stored in the flywheel. So the speed of the flywheel increase and the energy will be stored. So at this point, the energy of the flywheel is more and the speed of the flywheel also more, right? The same again, it will be decreasing again. So now it has more energy, flywheel has more energy at this point. Let us take the speed is equal to N1 here. Here it is N2, right? So the N1 is maximum speed, N2 is minimum speed. So now it is rotating at maximum speed and high energy. So after this, the energy produced is less than the mean value. So what will happen? It will take the energy from the flywheel. The energy of the flywheel is slowly decreasing. Up to this point, it will be decreasing. Up to this point, the energy of the flywheel will be decreasing, speed will be decreasing. So now, after this, the torque produced in the engine is more than the required. So now, the flywheel speed will increase and the flywheel energy also will increase. So at this point, again speed is N2, that is speed is minimum, energy is, we can say E2, it is minimum. And at this point, energy is maximum. Let us take E1, speed also maximum, because here the energy, the torque is more than the required and it is stored in the flywheel, and it increases the energy and decreases the speed. So this is a way it works. For example, if you want to calculate what is the acceleration at this point, some point, I want to calculate acceleration at this point, then what you have to do is, this is mean torque, T mean, or we can say resisting torque. So this is a maximum torque, then you have to find the excess torque. This torque you have to calculate, that is T max minus T minimum. So this torque only will accelerate. If it is this only will accelerate. So that is equal to I into alpha. You can find. Similarly, if you want to find the acceleration at this point it will be decelerating. So in that case, it will be decelerating. That you can calculate all those things. Now this is the turning moment diagram for the 4-stroke engine. Suction stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, here excess stroke. So you see, the power is produced only in the power stroke, working stroke. All other stroke, power is not produced. So in this stroke, this is a mean torque. This is the amount of torque required. So in this period, the torque, energy above this mean will be stored in the flywheel, right? That will be supplied during the exhaust stroke, compression stroke and suction stroke. Again, the power will be produced. The excess energy will be stored in the flywheel and it will be supplied during these strokes. So this is one cycle for the 4-stroke IC engine, right? Now, so since in this 4-stroke, power is produced only in the power stroke, other strokes it is not produced. So that is what we do is, we go for multi-cylinder engine. If you have 4 cylinders, then one stroke will produce power in this stroke. Another engine will produce power during this stroke. Another engine, the third engine will produce power during this stroke. Fourth cylinder will produce power this stroke. So fluctuation will be less. Fluctuation will be less. So that is what we go for the multi-cylinder engine. Multi-cylinder engine. All the cylinder will not produce the power in same time. All the engine will not produce the power in the same time. Different time it will produce. In the one cylinder will produce power at the first 90 degree, first 180 degree. The next will produce in next 180 degree. The third will produce in third 180 degree. Fourth will produce in fourth 180 degree. So that the power, you will be getting power continuously. So fluctuation will be less, and we need not store more energy. We need not store more energy in the flywheel. So size of the flywheel required is less, even in the case of multi-cylinder engine. So you can see a multi-cylinder engine. So this is power stroke of the one engine. This is power stroke of the another engine. This is power stroke of the another engine. Since there are number of cylinders, so see, you can see the fluctuation will be like this. Now here if you see, here if you see, the fluctuation is 0 to maximum, maximum to 0. But if you see here, the fluctuation is like this. It is not going to 0. The variation is, it is varying like this, right? So you can draw graph like this. So in case of multi-cylinder engine, this is 0. This is 0. It is not at all coming to 0. So fluctuation is less. We will not feel discomfort. Size of the flywheel required also less. So now we are interested in calculating the excess energy, because we are interested in designing a flywheel. We are interested in designing the flywheel. As fluctuation is more, we need bigger size flywheel. If fluctuation is less, you can reduce the size of the flywheel. So that's what we are going to study. Then we must know how much amount of excess energy is available. How much amount of excess energy is available. That we have to calculate. So for example, in this engine, see, this is a turning moment diagram. In this, what is the excess energy? What is the excess energy? Whenever the torque is more than the mean, that will be stored in the flywheel in the form of kinetic energy. So if you want to find the excess energy, what you have to do, I already told you, this is a mean torque required. This is a mean torque required. This is a torque produced. Since the torque produced is less than the mean torque, in this portion, it will be the flywheel will be supplying energy to the engine. So at this point, the speed will be minimum. Speed will be minimum, and the energy will be minimum. So that is taken as E2 or E1, whatever it may be, or minimum energy, E minimum. So in this here, after that, the torque produced more than the required. So during this period, the speed of the flywheel will increase and the energy will be more. So let us take this is E1 and N1, speed is equal to N1. So from here, the speed is slowly increasing. It is increasing, speed is increasing, energy is increasing. Up to this point, the torque is more than the required value. So here, let us take this is E2, N2. This is E1 and N1. Maximum speed. N1 is maximum speed, E1 is maximum energy. Now, what is the excess energy? Then what is the excess energy? So excess energy is, this will be the excess energy. This will be the, if you find the area of this portion, that will be the excess energy. That is denoted by delta E. That is denoted by delta E. Energy means T into theta. This is T, this is theta. This is area. T into theta. So you got to find like this. This is excess energy in this engine, right? If you want to find the work done, if you want to find the total work done during cycle, you got to find the total area. You got to find the total area under the curve will give the work done for one cycle. This is for one cycle up to 360 degree. After that, another cycle will start, right? So now, what is delta E? Delta E is equal to maximum energy minus minimum energy. Maximum energy minus minimum energy. This is one important term, delta E. That is maximum energy minus minimum energy. That is, what is fluctuation in the energy. That is delta E, right? Another one is C, Another term is CE, coefficient of fluctuation in energy. Coefficient of fluctuation in energy. That is delta E divided by work done. Work done per cycle. How to calculate delta E? This is delta E. How to find work done per cycle? The area of this portion. So that will be the CE, right? Coefficient of fluctuation in speed. So you can see this is a coefficient of fluctuation in speed, energy. That is maximum fluctuation in energy divided by work done per cycle. So now, as I told, one term is fluctuation in energy, maximum fluctuation in energy, then work done per cycle, then coefficient of fluctuation in energy, CE. These are the three terms you have seen. Then the third term is coefficient of fluctuation in speed. Earlier we have seen CE, that is delta E, fluctuation in energy divided by work done. That is CE. Now we are going to see another term, fluctuation in speed. That is N1 minus N2 by N. N is mean speed. N1 is maximum speed. N2 is minimum speed divided by N. It's a mean speed. And the same thing can be written like this: omega 1 minus omega 2 divided by omega. See, the flywheel will be looking like this. So this is a flywheel. Flywheel has a rim. So this is known as rim, and this is known as arm, and this is known as hub. Here only we fix the shaft. And the rims and hubs are connected. Hubs are connected by arms. There are 4 arms. Depending upon the requirement, you can have. It is just like alloy wheel. But here alloy wheel purpose is different. But this look like alloy wheel. That purpose is different. Here this dimension is important. Because we want to store the energy in the rim only. If you see the cross section of the rim, you can have a circular cross section. Any type of cross section you can have. So most of the case we will have rectangular cross section. The cross section will be rectangular. This is the cross section. Actually, if you cut like this, you can see the cross section. So this will be the cross section. This will be the B value, and this will be the T value. It will have a just like a disc brake. Just like a rim. It will have a 2 dimensions. One is B, another one is G. It will have rectangular cross section. Cross section will be rectangular. It will have a breadth as well as thickness. And so the coefficient of fluctuation of speed can be defined in terms of N1 minus N2 by N. Otherwise, omega 1. You know the relation between N and omega. N is equal to 2 pi N by 60. That is omega. This is omega. If you put N1, that will be omega 1. If you put N2, that will be omega 2. Another thing is velocity. In terms of velocity also you can mention. Velocity means the velocity of the rim. It is rotating with the speed of N1. Angular velocity is omega 1. So you can find the velocity. We can find the velocity V1. Tangential velocity. What will be the tangential velocity? If you know the radius, omega velocity is equal to omega into r. If you know the omega value and radius, you can find the value of V. So coefficient of fluctuation in speed can be defined in 3 terms: in terms of M, in terms of omega, in terms of velocity. n1 minus n2 by n, or omega 1 minus omega 2 by omega, or v1 minus v2 by v. So here omega is omega 1 plus omega 2 by 2. Omega 1 plus omega 2 by 2. That is average angular velocity omega. Similarly, n also. N is equal to n2 by n1 plus n2 by 2. Similarly, v is equal to v1 plus v2 by 2. That is mean speed, right? Now, the same thing here explained. So now we are going to derive the expression for energy store. Expression for energy store. Now, what is delta E? What is delta E? That is fluctuation in energy. Fluctuation in energy. I told at one point the energy will be minimum, another point the energy will be maximum. So let us take E1 minus E2. E1 is maximum energy, E1 is maximum energy, E2 is minimum energy. So how to find energy? What is the equation for energy for a rotating body, kinetic energy? If it is a linearly moving body, you will take it as half mv square. Half mv square. If it is a rotating body, it will be half I omega square. Here what is I? I is equal to moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. How to calculate the moment of inertia? I is equal to m into k square. Or we can take m into r square. What is k? Radius of gyration. Actually, if you have a disc like this, if it is completely filled, then the k value and r value are not same. But we have a rim like this. Flywheel is made up of rim like this. In case of rim, r value can be taken equal to taken equal to k. So that's what you can take m r square r square. In case of only flywheel, because in the middle no material. We have hub and arm, but they are very negligible. So in case of rim, we can take r is equal to k, but not all the time. If you take a disc like this, r is not equal to k. So in case of flywheel, you can take r is equal to k. So moment of inertia I is equal to mk square or mr square, right? So that is I. What is omega? So if you know the n, you can find the omega. And v. So here the energy stored in the flywheel, maximum energy you are taking. So you have to take maximum omega 1 square minus E2, that is half I into I is always constant, omega 2 square. So this is the fluctuation in energy. Already we have discussed in the graph. This is a point where energy is minimum. This is the point where energy is maximum, speed is maximum. Here energy is minimum, speed is minimum, right? Same one we have taken here also. So delta E is equal to half I omega 1 square minus half I omega 2 square. And here if you take into I omega 1 square minus omega 2 square. This can be written like this, half into I into omega 1 plus omega 2, omega 1 minus omega 2. Omega 1 plus omega 1 by 2, what? I into omega 1 plus omega 1 by 2 is equal to omega. Mean angular speed multiplied by omega 1 minus omega 2. So now you multiply and divide this by omega. What is omega 1 plus omega 1 minus omega 2 by omega? That is equal to, this is I omega square, that is CS. Fluctuation in speed, maximum fluctuation in speed, omega 1 minus omega 2 by omega. So this is the equation. This is the equation for delta E. Delta E is equal to I omega square CS, right? And the derivation is here. We have the derivation for that. And addition to that, when the flywheel is rotating, centrifugal force will be acting outward. So stress will be developed in the material. That is sigma. we have an equation for sigma. Sigma is equal to rho into V square. Rho into V square. What is the unit for rho? Density. Kg per meter cube. Multiply. What is the density? Density of this material. Density of this material. And what is V? Velocity of this material. It will be rotating at some velocity, no? That is tangential velocity. How to calculate tangential velocity? V is equal to omega into r. That will be the velocity. R, we can say it is, what is omega? Omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60 into r. You can put kg here. Rho is equal to density of the material. V is equal to velocity of the flywheel. That is, what is the unit? Meter per second is the velocity, meter square. So if you take this kg 1 meter, you take 1 meter and second square, meter into meter, meter into meter, kg second square meter. What is this? Kg meter per second square is equal to Newton. That is equal to Newton. If you cancel this, it will be 2. So Newton by meter square. What? Stress sigma is equal to rho into V square. Similarly, if you there's a relation between the dimension and the density. So we know one equation: mass is equal to density into volume. Density into volume. What is the volume in case of flywheel? So it is like this. It is flywheel. In the case of flywheel, arm and hub, it will be very, very less. You can neglect that. So you take only ring. 95% of the mass will be available in the ring. So ring only will be considering for calculating the volume. So the cross section is rectangle. This cross section is rectangle. It will be like this. This is B. This is T. And how to calculate the volume? Volume is equal to circumference. So let us take this is equal to D. This is a diameter. This is a diameter. So what is volume? Area into circumference is the volume. Area into circumference is the volume. So this is circumference and this area. So area, what is area? B into T. This is a cross section area into circumference. What is circumference? 2 pi r or pi d. 2 pi r. If you know r, you put 2 pi r. Otherwise pi into d. Pi into d. So this will be the volume. Volume of material in the ring. If you know the density, you can find the mass. You can find the mass. So these are all some of the equations you must remember, right? One is n1, n2, omega 1, omega 2, and what is velocity? V, omega into r, and cs, and what is fluctuation in speed, and what is fluctuation in energy, what is work done per cycle, and what is delta E, and what is sigma, what is sigma, that is stress, and what is the relation between mass and density. So all those things you must know to solve problems, right? Now you see this problem. Now you see this problem. This problem is turning moment diagram. Turning moment diagram for a multi-cylinder engine. For a multi-cylinder engine has been drawn to a scale of 1 millimeter is equal to 500 Newton meter torque, and 1 millimeter is to 6 degree of crank displacement. Generally, what is turning moment diagram? Turning moment diagram is a graph between torque and theta. So in the y-axis, 1 millimeter is taken how much? 1 millimeter is equal to 500 Newton meter. Some scale is taken. So always when you draw the graph, we take some scale, because here all are in millimeter, in dimensions, millimeter. But we use torque or something. So then you have to convert it into millimeter. Here how it is converted? 1 millimeter is equal to 500 Newton meter. 500 Newton meter. And x-axis it is taken 1 millimeter is equal to 6 degrees. 6 degrees, right? And the intercepted area between output torque curve and mean resisting line taken in order from one end in square meter are 30, 410, 280, 320, 330, like that. It is changing. It is changing. It is they are telling about the turning moment diagram. Turning moment diagram. It is going above and below the mean term. Minus 30 means it is going below the mean term. Plus means it is going above the mean term. Let us see the curve. See, this is a curve. It is moving. It is going like this. It is going above the mean term. This is a mean term. Below 30, above 410, below 280, above 3. It is going like this. It is going like this. That's the meaning of this one. And it is rotating at 800 rpm. The flywheel is rotating at 800 rpm. The engine has a stroke of 300 millimeter. What's the relation between the stroke and radius? Radius is equal to stroke by 2. Radius of the crank is equal to stroke by 2. And the fluctuation of speed is not to exceed 2 plus or minus 2%. Plus or minus 2% fluctuation in speed. The speed is varying from N1 to N2. N1 to N2, that is plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. That means 4%. It is going above 2%, below 2%. Right? Then omega 1 minus is equal to 4% of omega. 2% of the mean speed. So from this you can find the value of CS. You can find the value of CS. That is the difference between maximum and minimum speed is equal to 4% of omega. 4% of omega. 4% means 0.04. So if you take omega 1 minus omega 2 by omega, what is this? That is equal to 0.04. What is omega 1 minus omega 2 by omega? That is equal to CS, fluctuation in speed. Aprom the determine suitable diameter, cross section of the flywheel rim, the limited value of centrifugal stress. The stress is given 7 megapascal. 7 megapascal. The material density is 7,200 kg per meter cube. The width of the rim is 5 times the thickness. I told you the rim is like this. Cross section area is like this. It is told width is equal to 5 times the thickness. So it is like this. It is like this. It is like this. This is the width. This is thickness. Width is equal to 5 times thickness. 5 times thickness. Now we have to find all the dimensions. All the dimensions of the flywheel. Right? Now you take this problem. In this problem, first step is to draw the turning moment diagram. Turning moment diagram is not directly given, but it is given in words. So this is a mean, and the diagram is like this. And initially it is minus 30. It is going below the mean torque. Then it is going above the mean torque. That is plus 410. Then minus 280. It is going like that. What we have to do is we have to calculate the energy at salient points. What are the salient points? A is a salient point, because let us take at this point the energy is equal to E. So at B, some amount of energy is lost. Why? The required torque is more than the produced torque. So some amount of energy is lost. So at this point, what is the energy going to calculate? Similarly, at this point, some amount of energy is added. So at this point, each point, in salient points, you find the energy. So here it is calculated. So energy at point A is equal to taken as E. At point A is equal to just to some value, you take E. At B, what is the value? E minus 30. E minus 30. What is the value at C? C is equal to E minus 30 plus 410. This 410 you have to add. Then at point D, then again you have minus 280. So similarly, you find energy at each point. So at B it is E minus 30. At point C it is E plus 380. At point D it is E plus 100. So it is given. So here, to find delta E, what you have to take? E1 minus E2. What is E1? Maximum energy. Out of this, you find which is maximum. E minus 30, so it is less, leave it. E plus 380, E plus 100, E plus 420, E plus 90, E plus 340. Here again E minus 20. So you leave it. So out of this, which is maximum? E plus 420 is maximum. E plus 420 is maximum. Similarly, which is minimum? Minimum means two minimums. One is E minus 20, here E minus 30. So E minus 30 is the minimum. E minus 30 is the minimum. So now write here, what is the maximum? E plus 420 minus E minus 30. So this is E plus 420 minus, take inside, minus E plus 30. So E cancel, 420 plus 30, 450. What is the unit? Energy in what? Here it is in, see, square millimeter. It is in square millimeter. It is in millimeter square because it is in the form of graph. It is in the form of graph. So we found the energy in millimeter square, but we want energy in what unit? Newton meter. Newton meter. So now you take the scale. Now you take the scale. From this you find 1 millimeter square is equal to how much? 1 millimeter is equal to how much? So x-axis scale, and you multiply x-axis scale and y-axis scale. What is x-axis scale? 1 millimeter is equal to 500. 1 millimeter is equal to 500. This is x-axis scale. What is y-axis scale? 1 millimeter is equal to 6 degree. 6 degree means you got to convert it to radians. Pi by 180. So this will give what is 1 millimeter square. If you calculate this, that will be 52.37. This will be 52.37 millimeter square. So now you multiply these two, and find the delta E in Newton meter. If you multiply 450, 1 millimeter square is equal to how much? This is Newton. This is Newton meter. Newton meter. So 552.37. So that will give 23566. 23566 Newton meter. So first step we have completed. What is the value of delta E? What is the value of delta E? We calculated. What we have to calculate actually? We need to calculate the suitable diameter. Cross section of the flywheel. What is cross section? Diameter means D. Cross section means B into T. BT. So these are all the three values we are going to calculate. Now we are going to calculate the diameter. So how to calculate the diameter? Already the stress is given. And density is given. So we have an equation sigma is equal to rho into V square. From this we can find the value of V. After calculating V, we can find the value of diameter. So here, what is the value of sigma? Sigma is equal to 7 megapascal. You substitute in pascal. So 7. That is, what is the unit? Newton per meter square. 7 into 10 power 6. That is equal to, rho is equal to 7,200 into V square. From this you can find the value of V. What is the value of V? V is equal to 31.2 meter per second. From the V you can find the value of diameter. What is the relation between V and D? V is equal to omega into R. What is R? R is the radius. That is D by 2. Right? You calculate R, then you can calculate the diameter. So from this, R is equal to V by R. R is equal to V by omega. R, we can say it is D by 2. What is velocity we know? 31.2. This is velocity. This is equal to pi dn by 60. Pi into yes. This is 2 pi n by 60. Omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. What is the value of n? In the problem it is given. The value of speed is equal to n is equal to 800. It is 800. So you substitute the value of n is equal to 800, and all other data we know. From this we can find the value of diameter. What is the value of diameter? Diameter is equal to 0.745 meter. 745 meter. We got the value of d. What is the next step? Next step is, already we have the value of delta E. Already we have the value of delta E. We know delta E is equal to I into omega square into Cs. This equation already we know. What is the value of Cs? C is equal to 0.04. It is given in the problem. It is plus or minus 2%. That is 4%. That is 0.04. What is the value of omega? Omega already we have the value of speed. We have the value of speed. So 2 pi n by 60. N is equal to 600. Sorry, 800. So from this we can substitute the value of omega. Cs we know. Delta E, this is the value of delta E. This is the value of delta E. So from this we can find the value of I. What is I? I is equal to mk square. Right? What is k? I value you can find here, and k value is equal to in the problem it is given is the value of k okay. So here of k we used this one, that is yes, we have the value of r, no? Already we have taken k is equal to r. We have taken k is equal to r. Already we know the value of r. So if in the place of k we can take r. Already we have discussed. So in this equation we substitute the value of k. What is k? Already we have calculated the value of d. So from the d you can substitute the value of r. So that is k is equal to d by 2. D by 2 is substitute. So now you can calculate the value of m. From m you can calculate the value of dimensions. We know density is equal to, that is mass is equal to rho into volume. What is value? Volume is equal to b into t into pi into d. This is circumference, this is cross section area. What is b? B is equal to 5 times t. Already it is given b is equal to 5 times t. So 5 times t. So here only unknown is t. See, mass already we have calculated. From this equation we have calculated the mass. We substitute here, and rho already given in the problem. It is 7,200, and only unknown in this, d is known, only unknown is t. So first you find the value of t. So t will be 85 millimeters. After calculating t, you can find the value of b. So you know b is equal to 5 times t. So it is 425 millimeter. So this is the way you have to solve this problem. So I will explain you once again quickly. That is, first step is you have to find the value of delta E. The second step is to calculating the diameter. to calculating the diameter. How to calculate diameter? Sigma is equal to rho into V square. From this you can find the value of V. After finding the value of E, you can find the diameter. After that, we go to delta E is known. So now from delta E, what is delta E? Delta E is equal to I omega square R. I omega square CS. So in this problem, you have to in this equation you have to find the value of I. Delta is known, omega is known, CS is known. So you can find the value of I. What is I? I is equal to mk square. Mk square. Here you have to find the value of m. What is m? Mass is equal to rho into volume. Rho into volume. What is volume? Volume is equal to Bt into pi d. This is the volume. Here you can find the value of B, you can find the value of T. So our objective is to find the value of D, B and T. So what are all they? So this is a rim. This is a rim. In the rim, we can find the value of, this is diameter. This is diameter and this will have a cross section. This is T, it will have a cross section like this. It will have, this is B, this is T. So all these early values you have to calculate like this, right?